Hello and welcome to the first event of ArtWorks Together 2023. Now the aim of this event is to answer some of your questions about ArtWorks Together and the application process, and we're also going to be talking to some of the artists from the 2021 ArtWorks Together competition. We'll have an exclusive interview with Wendy Belcher, who's one of our previous winners, who submitted a wonderful piece of video art called Things That Annoy Me. So she's going to talk to us about her experience of ArtWorks Together. And then we'll be joined by two of our past award winners, Emily Utley, who won the first prize award, and Thomas Miles, who won the third prize award. So they're going to tell us a bit about their experience of ArtWorks Together, and we'll be able to answer questions live. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask either myself or any of the artists, make sure you put them in the chat, and we'll be able to answer your questions later on in the event. So before we talk to our guests, I'm just going to run through some sort of general queries about ArtWorks Together that you might have to hopefully answer a few of your questions. So ArtWorks Together is an international exhibition, and it's specifically for artists with learning disabilities, autism or both, from around the world. You have to be 16 or over to submit a piece of work to the competition. And we wanted to create ArtWorks Together because we felt that artists with learning disabilities, autism or both are underrepresented in the art world, and we wanted to change this. So we created ArtWorks Together as a platform to help these artists be more recognised within the art world. So submissions are now open for ArtWorks Together 2023. And you can submit a piece of work now online until the 17th of June, so that's the deadline you're working towards. The submissions are all free, so you don't have to pay anything to enter at all, and you can submit on our website. Now the link to our website, you can find that in the description under this live stream. So if you're interested, check out that. Now, if you have any problems filling in the form, just get in touch with us via the contact page and we can help you out with that. So from the submissions, we have a panel of judges. You can find out more about them on our website, and they will look through all of the submissions. Last time we had over 1,000 submissions. So they look through all of those submissions, and from that, they shortlist the candidates who are in the exhibition. And that exhibition will be at Wentworth Woodhouse, which is an amazing stately home in Yorkshire. It's an amazing place. They have hundreds of visitors to Wentworth every year, and so it's a really great place to get exposure of your artwork. So to launch the exhibition, we're having a festival. The exhibition runs from the 30th of August to the 24th of September, and we're launching it with lots of different events and art workshops. You can find out more about that on our website. Now, international work this year, we're including international work in a digital format. And that's to reduce our carbon footprint, something we're working on here at ArtWorks Together. And we will work with you to show that in the way you want that to work digitally. National works will be shown physically in the space, and we cover the postage for those. So if your work is selected, we will contact you and organise the postage of that work. What else? Oh, a big thank you to our funders. So we are funded by Art Council England. They're very generous and they supported us in 2021 too. So we want to say a big thank you to them for funding it. Also Sheffield City Council, thank you for your support. And the Yorkshire and Humber Visual Art Network, thank you very much. So hopefully that's answered a few sort of general questions about ArtWorks Together. So for the second section of this event, we want to chat to some of our artists, and we're going to start by watching a video by Wendy Belcher, who won Helen Phoebe's Judges Award in 2021.
Wendy Belcher, Shadowlight Artists Film Oxford, ArtWorks Together 2021 winner. What was your film about?
Because I like what's annoying me stuff, like what I want to say about things. It was like goes to the shops and it's one person on a till and it's a long queue. I just don't like that. Bus didn't stop when I was put my hand out. It didn't stop. Noises on the bus, I just don't like. It was just like taking a while to do it. Hours to do it. Making it up. Yeah.
How did you feel when you found out that your artwork was shortlisted for the exhibition?
Oh, I was happy. Everybody sees it. Yeah, I'm glad. If it's just disabled people like autism, like me, how I feel, and then hopefully they'll feel like the same.
Did you enjoy seeing your work in the digital exhibition on the ArtWorks Together website?
Yes, I did. When I went shopping, someone recognised me on YouTube. I was happy.
How did you feel when you found out that your artwork was selected by Helen Phoebe for the Judges Award?
Happy. I never win before. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Overall, did you enjoy taking part in the ArtWorks Together exhibition?
I enjoyed my artworks with a show.
Super, thank you so much for that video, Wendy. So now we're going live to Emily and Tom. Hi, it's nice to thank you so much for having giving up your time to come and talk to us. I'm just going to give a quick reminder to our audience to put any questions you have for either myself or Emily and Tom. Just pop them in the chat box and we'll make sure that they answer your questions. So hi, how are you?
Good.
Oh, it's nice to chat to you again. It feels like ages since I got to properly talk to you. So yeah, it's nice to see you. So could you introduce yourselves to our audience? Shall we start with Emily? So Emily's won the first prize for ArtWorks Together 2021. So do you want to talk about the exhibition and your artwork?
Yeah, I applied to the exhibition, I think, shortly after finishing uni, and I hadn't made much artwork at that point, but I really wanted to start exhibiting my artwork for the first time from like the small body of work that I had made, and I felt that Sleeping Boy was my strongest piece, so that was, and like it was most representative of the kind of work that I wanted to make, so that was the one that I submitted, and then obviously it was amazing when I found out that I had been shortlisted and won an award.
Do you want to talk a bit about Sleeping Boy, since we've discussed it? So yeah, tell us a bit about that piece of work.
I think because my work, I like to focus on mental health. That's what's important to me. It's sort of centered around like human emotion and mental health, but then I like to uplift it through colour. So I think that was why I thought Sleeping Boy was, yeah, like most representative of the kind of work that I wanted to start making. And I think I really wanted to make a comment on the relationship or like the play between depression and mindfulness, which I sort of expressed through the boy's composure. And I think that was what kind of caught the judges' attention, was they couldn't quite work out what he was thinking or feeling. I think that was what made it quite special. And I made it during lockdown, but it wasn't really about I think that was a time when everyone's mental health wasn't great, but I would have sort of made the image regardless, because I think at the time, back then, my mental health was something I'd always struggled with. But I think that was because like ArtWorks happened during lockdown. I think that was what helped people maybe to relate to it.
Yeah,
Really did at the time.
I think the colour choices and the sort of emotion that you're talking about really comes across in the work. It's really well, and I know a lot of people who came to the exhibition said that the colour and the fact that the boy himself is colourless. It was like he's almost empty, or there was a lot of discussion about this piece. So,
yeah. I think like I hadn't had any like formal art training. I didn't do it at school. I just got into it in my spare time. And I kind of still now when I approach painting, I don't feel like I don't know what I'm doing a lot of the time. I feel like I've got my style, so I kind of know how to go about it from there. But I probably, if I tried to draw him in like a classical way, I'd probably do a really bad job of it. So I think I just thought the way it looked was great as it was. So I wanted to leave it as it was.
Yeah,
but it definitely tied into the meaning of, you know, him having depression and feeling empty and things.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful piece of work. Thanks, Emily. So, Tom, do you want to introduce yourself and give us a bit of a background to you?
Of course. So I'm Tom from Thomas Oscar Miles Photography. I am a fine art and self-empowerment photographer. So I like to specialise in telling really personal narratives and putting that out there to inspire others to hopefully do the same. So I submitted my work kind of on a whim. I just thought, you know what, this looks amazing, I'm going to try. And I submitted a self-portrait I did all about the ideas of masking in the autistic community and when you're on the spectrum. And for me, I think it was just a beautiful moment of celebrating something that I personally struggle with and that others struggle with, and kind of turning that into almost like a superpower. I love kind of embracing stuff that people don't want to talk about or that they're kind of, I don't know, ashamed of or something they struggle with, and turn that into something really beautiful. So I love to play with really dark and detailed kind of imagery and find some sort of light and hope throughout that. I've been doing photography since about 2013, but I've started professionally about 2020-21, kind of taking it a bit more seriously within the fine art world. So I sell prints, I offer workshops and guidance to other creatives, and yeah, I'm just kind of on this amazing journey and just seeing where it takes me.
Yeah, and the piece of work from ArtWorks Together, you've touched on it briefly, but do you want to explain a little bit about masking, because maybe not everyone knows what that means or about that, and talk a bit about the composition of the piece, because I think that's really interesting.
Oh, thank you. So in 2020, lockdown happened, and it gave me a bit of chance to self-reflect on where I was going with my art, why I was doing it. It was a break from, you know, where I was going. It was like a pause in life. So I started to realise that I really wanted to create art about my autism and putting that out there to hopefully educate or inspire other people to learn about what people with autism go through. And I learned about this idea of masking, which, how I like to describe it, is almost like a form of camouflage. So it's where people who are on the spectrum may hide sort of characteristics or traits to fit into social situations. So they might pick up on the way someone laughs or a certain tone of voice and use that to kind of deflect from any sort of judgment they have. So I start to learn that this is something that I apply in my life, not even with choice without knowing what it was. Yeah. So I'm naturally kind of trying to fit into social situations. So I created a triptych of images, all with like visuals of flowers and using self-portraiture to put myself into those stories. So the photo that I submitted was the middle part of the triptych, which is all about conflict and the sort of the middle part of like a book where the character goes through a struggle and you learn about how they come out of that. And for me, when I'm masking, there is this sense of conflict, and there's a lot of statistics about mental health, like Emily was talking about how people with autism can struggle with trying to fit in and change themselves to do that. And it's so draining, and it's really difficult to maintain. It can drain your mental battery and end up just affecting you in the long term. So I wanted this photo to be a message to myself and message to others that we don't need to try and be something we're not. It's okay to, you know, have your autistic traits on show and actually celebrate them, because that's just who we are. So I wanted this piece to be a real celebration of the understanding of what we struggle with. So in it, it's a self-portrait shot in the summer of lockdown, and it's me in a bush on the side of the path with paint all over my face, and it's this visceral sort of feeling of trying my best to blend into my surroundings and the flowers and trying to fit into those colours, but the reality is that I can't, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful piece of work, thank you.
Thank you.
And ArtWorks Together, so you both found out about it. Why did you want to submit your work to ArtWorks Together? What made you decide to? Do you want to answer first, Emily?
Yeah, I mean, I'd never exhibited before, and that was something that I always really wanted to do at some point in my life. I didn't think, because I think at that point I'd only really been making artwork for about 6 months or something, and it felt like it happened so quickly with the open call with ArtWorks, and I found out about it through, because at the time I'd only just become a member of this disabled arts community in Leeds, where I'm from, and they shared the open call in the Facebook group, and as soon as I saw it, I knew that, you know, I wanted to apply. Just seemed like too good of an opportunity to miss out on, and I don't know, I guess the fact that I'm from Yorkshire as well is just a bit of coincidence, but it just seemed so exciting. There was so much to it. It was an international open call, and there was judges awards and opportunity to exhibit at Wentworth Woodhouse. I knew straight away I wanted to apply. I didn't think I'd get accepted, but I still wanted to try.
How about you, Tom?
Oh, very similar. I think so. I've done a bit of exhibiting, but I hadn't quite properly got into it yet. And I try and submit weekly to any galleries or opportunities I find, and I managed to find ArtWorks Together, again, sort of on like a whim. And it was almost like this light bulb. I was like, oh my goodness, this looks amazing. It's celebrating disabled artists or artists on the spectrum. And that's really the direction I want to go in my journey, is talking about disability and finding empowerment in that through art. So I just sort of submitted one of my pieces that I'd created at the time, just thinking it would fit with the idea of autism and putting myself out there. And yeah, it was just really amazing to find a cause that's really close to my heart, and just knowing that there's other people out there that want to talk about the same things. So it was just a really surreal kind of, like the jigsaw pieces came together.
Yeah, just meant to be, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I've got a question actually on the chat from Kaylee that sort of ties in. How important are exhibitions like this to you both?
They're really important. It's important to feel connected with communities like this, because there's not many that you come by, and it helps me to feel better about my diagnosis, knowing that there's organisations out there that support people with autism, and want to give people a voice to share their artistic abilities. So yeah, I'm just so grateful that for what you're doing, it's really helps people I'm sure it helps other people as well to feel better about their diagnosis and more understood and valued in society.
Absolutely. Yeah, literally the same. I think it's just incredible that exhibitors want to celebrate diverse artists and talk about disability, because sometimes there's a sense of taboo, in the media. You feel like you almost have to say you're not autistic to get the galleries, and I want to be proud of who I am and put myself out there as an autistic artist, and to have this group that celebrate that and let that be the like center stage of my work is just really refreshing. I think exhibiting is amazing in terms of finding like-minded people, and seeing your work in print is such a surreal experience. I've kind of got art all over my house now because I just love seeing pictures that I create, because it's just so beautiful when it's off the screen and on
yeah,
a
definitely.
Yeah, I love
that. So when you found out your artwork was selected, that must have been a really exciting moment. Do you want to talk a bit about that and a bit about actually going to the exhibition at Wentworth and how that was?
Yeah, I was so excited when I found out I was shortlisted, because I remember it was like about a month before, because we found out that we were shortlisted first, and then we found out later on that we won awards individually. And at that point, I just wanted to exhibit like I hadn't thought about the top prizes, because that just seemed so out of reach. But I think once I found out that I was shortlisted, it made that feel a bit more tangible now, and it kind of put it into reality just how I was going to be a part of something so like incredible. And that was the first time, I think the moment I found out I was shortlisted, that was the first moment I'd ever felt like people had responded to my artwork and connected with it. Because before that, I don't know, I was just telling people that I was doing artwork, but they weren't really taking it seriously. And I felt like as soon as you know, obviously recognised you saw something in it, it was just actually a bit of a life-changing moment, because it was the first time that I finally felt understood and like my work was appreciated. And then obviously seeing it in exhibition as well, I think at that point I just really wanted to say thank you to everyone in person as well. But it was great being a part of, I just felt so proud to be a part of it as well, because of all the work that you do for people with autism. And it was great to see it both online and in person. I think you did so much to really make it as much of an exciting and incredible opportunity as possible, and to help get loads of people involved. I felt so proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think the opening was really exciting. So you both came to the opening. I felt really, there was a buzz about it, wasn't there? It was a great event. So do you want to talk a bit about the sort of opening event, Tom?
I'd love to. So I live in Shropshire, so I came up especially for it with me and my partner. I was so excited to see it because kind of on my bucket list is to sort of exhibit in like a manor house, and to be in Wentworth.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, in the stately home with all the, it's a beautiful place, just generally. So to know that my art was going to be within that place was so surreal, and like in the walls, and it's so gorgeous. So I had to come down to see it all come up in my case. So it was just an incredible opportunity, and seeing it printed. And I think for me, what was most special was seeing all the other artists that were there. So like seeing Emily's work there, seeing everyone else that was exhibited, and meeting them in person. Just a beautiful moment, especially where we were in the world, because it felt very like you were kind of on your own at the time for me. So to know that we still had a community and we were all kind of in it together was really kind of humbling and just lovely. So I really loved it. And for me personally, I kind of say that was the start of my fine art professional career, just because I had done little things before and I've had some amazing opportunities, but this was the first time I kind of really felt heard as me and just as who I am. And I feel like that was the time where I was like, I really stepped up and I was like, this is who I want to be. This is the direction I'm going on. And I always say that was the very first page.
That's great. Thank you. That's really nice to hear. To hear. Which leads me on to the next question, which is sort of a bit more about what impacts the exhibition have had on you, and what you guys are up to now, because I know you've both been working your own artwork since. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what you're up to?
I think, like Tom, since the exhibition, it's really helped me like on a psychological level. Like before, it's given me a sense of reassurance that people do connect with my work and see the worth in it. So I think that's the one thing that, if I'd say, I've taken out of it. It's given me that confidence and that feeling of empowerment that I should be doing this and I should believe in myself, and I kind of carry that with me through now. Like Tom said, it's a journey, and you don't know what's going to come. There's going to be ups and downs, and I have had setbacks since, and it's that kind of industry where it can be really tough and really hard, but I think to just know that there's people out there supporting you and that have seen something in you and make your work feel really special, that's more valuable than anything. So I think, I have had some amazing things happen since. Like I did a mural last year, and that was really physically massive.
I think,
and I've done a bit of exhibiting, so it's really given me that confidence to keep on going, really, because I don't know if I would have, if it's when you're not always getting positive experiences, it's quite easy to kind of give up when I'm having to do it in my spare time. But I think now I carry that feeling with me of everything that happened on that day. It's really helped me to keep going.
No, thank you. Let me have a look at the chats to see what what questions we've got for you here. Let's have a look. So Tom, Katie says, amazing work. Do you only work in photography?
Hi Katie, that's a good question. So I primarily focus on photography. I studied it since I was a kid at school, and it was kind of the one creative way that I could really tell my story. I started in fashion, I learned about making costuming, I've done painting and art, but for me, photography was kind of that missing piece. It made the most sense. I tend to create mostly in photo form, but I do experiment with other mediums. So I started printing my art onto fabric and I sort of stitch onto it. I worked on poetry at the minute as well, so putting stories into word form. So I'm trying to have photography be the centre, but sort of branch out from there.
No, that sounds really interesting. It'd be interesting to see some of your work. We can, so lots of comments on the chat. Let's see. Some artistic characters. Okay, so there's a question here, I think this is for you, Emily, about art. So it's she's interested in what inspires you to leave the faces in particular without colour. So you touched on this briefly, that your piece of artwork, the boy is completely colourless. Do you want to just talk about why?
Once I did that, I didn't want to do anything more. I felt like I'd said it. I think I really wanted to focus on, especially if you look in the head section, there's a lot of random bits of the struggle to, I think, so that's why I kind of focus on the body language a lot, is because I kind of end up reading people through that more, and that's what I sort of focus a lot on in each of my works. So it's just kind of thinking of a different way of trying to draw someone, I guess, but yeah. Yeah,
no, I hope we think it's really successful. Let's have a look. So, someone was asked about the selection process timeline on there. Now, all the information about that's on our website, which we've put below, but the artist selected will be notified on the 5th of July. And if you're unsuccessful, we'll send you an email and let you know on that day too. So I think that's just a general question. Is there an access budget for going to the private viewer opening? We do have some budget for that. So if you are selected, there is an opportunity, and we talk to you about that. Sorry, I'm just reading. So so shortlisted artists. Somebody asked how many artists are shortlisted. So it's 35. So we last competition exhibition we had roughly 1,000 entries, and out of those 1,000, 35 people were shortlisted. And so it says a small selection, and then from those 35 we'll have awards. So we have judges awards and a first, second and third place award. Let's have a look. This is not a question, but brilliant, genuine, truthful communicators. Both of you are, so that's a nice comment. This is a question from Nick for Emily. What's the biggest piece of artwork you've ever worked on? I guess this is referencing your mural. So how big was it?
I don't know if that's like a literal question. If it's a literal question, it's definitely the mural, because that was like 6 meters. I mean, that came about last August, and I don't know how that happened. Like, I just got this email come through out of nowhere from a woman from the Uni of Leeds, and she said she'd seen my work and she'd really like me to do a mural, because they're redesigning the student union at Leeds Uni, and I had never made, like, I'd only ever done like 30 centimetre oil paintings, like, you know, really small works. So, you know, when I first found out about it, I thought, surely I'm not good enough to do this, but I didn't want to, like, you know, say no at all. Like, this is a challenge, and I'm really up for opportunities. So I did it, and then that was like, that was about 6 meters wide. It was on wood, and it kind of, I had to push through it. There was a deadline, so it was quite a lot of work at the time. I was working over 10 hours a day sometimes to get it finished on time, but it was definitely worth it in the end, because, you know, I'm really grateful as well that woman got in touch with me and wanted me to do a work for the uni, especially because I had never done work like that before. So that was massive, like really big, but I kind of, I'm glad that I did it, because I learned so much about how to go about doing that kind of work as well, like working it. It forced me to, you know, consider other mediums and drawing large scale and new ways of working, and I've learned so much coming out of it as well.
I think that when you do something like that, that's such a completely out of your comfort zone, it pushes your work to the next level, because you do learn something through doing that.
And now I kind of like I've got the bug for it, like I want to keep drawing large scale, like I like kind of the physicality of it. It's kind of inspired me to almost start working in a completely new way, but no, I'm still just doing drawings like Sleeping Boy. That's still like quite an important thing, but
I think it's nice having 2 different ways of working as well, that are connected but really different.
Yeah, it's important to keep on experimenting and kind of grow through that, and through learning new things and exploring new kind of ways of working. So
I've got a question here. Would you like to be full-time artists as your primary income? Is that your goal? Do you want to answer that one, Tom?
Yeah, definitely. That is definitely the goal. I would love that. So currently I'm a part-time artist. I'm just trying to find the perfect avenue to kind of go down. So at the minute I do gallery work. I've started exhibiting. So I had my first solo show last year, which was amazing. So I've started selling through exhibiting and all things like that. I also do wedding photography as well. So that is a way for me to kind of make an income. So my goal with my art is to become a full-time wedding photographer, and then use the fine art that I do here as sort of my passion, and make sort of more art that's meaningful, and not rely on that to sort of pay the bills.
Sure.
But yeah, all things like that, making a book as well as my goal. So I kind of want to make little avenues for myself within my art. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's a question here from Lita and Sophie. So does it have to be a picture, painting or sculpture, or could you submit a film? So yes, you could definitely submit a film. So earlier on we saw Wendy talking about her artwork, and she actually submitted a film to ArtWorks Together 2021. So that is definitely an option. There's lots of different, so we accept all different types of artwork. So try and be as open as possible, so we don't limit what people do. So sound art, films, installation, we're open to all your ideas. So yeah, it's not just painting and sculpture. Super. Let's have a look. Gosh, we've had a lot of questions. I've answered that one. Super. No, I've answered this one. When does the work need to be posted and received by? When can it be returned? So once we've selected, we'll get in touch with you about posting the work, and we'll need to receive it. I think it's a month before the exhibition, so we can put that up, and we'll return it. So we'll have it for the month during the exhibition, and then as soon as we take the exhibition down, we will organise returning that work. Obviously, that's not a very definite timescale, but we will be in touch with you as soon as the exhibition finishes to organise sending your work back to you. And when we're shipping work to you, we'll get it tracked so we know where it is at all times. Someone's asked, does the work have to be created in 2023 or can it be from any time? And I think someone's written back, so it must be submitted it must be created in the last 12 months. So yeah, I think that's all the questions answered so far. So yeah, thank you so much for your questions. If I've missed anyone's questions, because there's quite a few in the chat, we will try and get in touch with you and answer any questions that I've not got to. Oh, I've got, can collectives or group of artists submit collective work? They can do, that is an option as a collective. Sophie asks, do you have to say why you've chosen your piece? So in the application process, there are some questions about your work. So you can write why you've submitted your work. But if you have a look on our website, like I said, the link is in the description of this video. There's a really straightforward form with questions on, and it's obviously you both filled in the application form. It's fairly straightforward, isn't it, for people to fill in? So so yeah, like I say, if anyone has any questions or difficulty filling in the form, if you get in touch with us, our team here are great and they'll help you to fill that in. Is there a size limit? What is realistically the largest a work can be? We had a really large piece of work last year. I think it was that might have been nearly 6 meters long, a wall hanging. So we can accept really large works, but if you have a look on our website, we've got some more details, specific details about the work. But like I say, we're trying not to limit people in what they can do. So yeah, we can accept fairly large works. We had some large sculptures last year, a really large wall hanging. So yeah, we're quite flexible on size. Super. Okay. If you've got any other questions, please do get in touch, and I hope that we've answered all of your questions. Thank you so much to Emily and Tom for joining us. It's been really great talking to you. And yeah, so great hearing what you're doing now after after a year, 2 years after the exhibition. So yeah, that's great. So thank you so much. And thank you guys for joining us and for all your questions. I couldn't keep up with them all. So yeah, thanks very much for joining us. It's been really great that so many of you could. And I just want to say a quick shout out to our funders. Thank you so much to Arts Council England for all your support. Also Sheffield City Council and the Yorkshire and Humber Art Network. Thank you so much. And thank you very much. Goodbye.